I don't.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I'm basically giving you the stuff that actually works from all this. So you're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So Delia has agreed, as you guys know, to be sort of the guinea pig for a lot of the stuff we do with Next Level. And I think you're a really good case study because of your story. So I'm just going to back up a little, Delia, and maybe you just want to tell everybody kind of how you got into the business, what your origin story is with real estate.
Basically, I tried to buy a house when I was 21 years old after I graduated from Eckerd, and people were, nasty. The agents were, you're too young, you don't have good credit, you don't have enough money. And I actually had most of those things. So I kind of got frustrated and decided to get my real estate license and sold myself a house. And so kind of started from there. Obviously, I liked the process. So I kept going and, became an agent and never stopped. And that was about 25 years ago. But I was just a kid, so I had no fear. It was difficult at the beginning, but you just work just keep grinding, and it eventually plays out and works.
We were talking about this yesterday, how you would kind of take every opportunity. And I was kind of the same way, and talking about how some agents these days, maybe it's kids these days, aren't as much into the hustle, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I was giving out my cards at the 7-Eleven. I mean, every guy at a gas station knew I was a realtor and I sold real estate. I mean, any bartender I ran into, I mean, every single person that possibly came my way, I gave out a card to. And like sometimes I couldn't go home, even if I was tired and wanted to go home, because my old broker told me you had to give out 20 cards a day. So if I had only given out 14, I had to go find 6 other opportunities. I mean, at some points it was like handing them out the window with $1 to a homeless guy, but just so I could go home. But I made sure I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, awesome. And back in that day, I imagine you didn't have a sophisticated CRM or anything.
CRM, no. When I actually started, we had the MLS book that came out once a week. And but then like literally within like 2 months, we got an internet, and it was DOS based, and you just do you had these MLS areas, and you would just be like 2BA, 2BE for bedrooms, and then you do like a property range, and you'd get like a DOS printout of addresses, and there were no pictures, no anything. So the nice thing about it was you truly knew your market. You would go out the minute something was listed, you looked at every single brand new listing. So when someone walked in your office and said, hey, I'm looking for a 3-2, you knew exactly where that 3-2 was, which one was the best deal, because you knew everything, which you don't necessarily get from pictures and videos of new listings.
Yeah. Was cooperation good then? Other brokers would let you in?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only was it good, but we got paid a lot more. I mean, the prices were lower, but the average, listing commission was somewhere between 7 and 10%. God, I sound like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
seriously.
I'll make you feel better.
I'm really not that old. I'm not even 50.
Okay. I'll make you feel better. Of the people listening, how many of you remember those days? I'm sure there's going to be a few who say yes. So don't feel bad. So you didn't have a CRM at that point. You're probably just using notepads and whatever.
Yeah, I had this really awesome CRM, and actually it's right here. Hold on. I'll show it to you. It's this thing right here.
Yeah.
And it was called the 7-Eleven. It was the Colmer form book. And I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, inside you would literally you can see these people's names. And it was these people were looking for a lot, I had all these people's names on here. It told all the properties you showed them, how much they were. Look at these prices, $57,900.
Yeah.
And that house now is probably $450,000.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my CRM, and literally every day it was actually kind of nice because you could literally just, go through and be like, I called this one this week. I called this one this week. And yes, I know obviously kvCORE and conversion does the same thing, but in a much more, serious way.
Yeah. But having it in your hands actually does help sometimes.
It depends on how your brain works,
Yeah. So what made you, when you got conversion, was that your first CRM, or did you have other stuff before that?
I had tried Top Producer back, when it was brand new. I think I even got it free with maybe some kind of realtor.com deal or something. I can't even remember. I had tried something else, and I, and my big problem was I never had a good CRM, like, and I never had a decent database. And I still feel like mine still is lacking. And not because of what kvCORE can't do, because of me just not putting everybody I know in there, which is, a big flaw that I have. But no, like, so I tried some other things. I was so shocked when we went to, I think we started using conversion back in 2012. We went to the NAR conference and we met like Eric and like, Justin Tracy and a bunch of people. And maybe even you were there. I think you might have been. But anyway, and it was in New Orleans, and it was unbelievable, like what this thing could do. And nobody in Pinellas County or St. Pete, like where I am, used it at all. Like, I mean, we were killing it with organic website leads like all day long because we were the only game in town, so it was really, I mean, it was pretty amazing at the beginning. But I mean, obviously, as we learned it, and then, one of my agents who was more like a partner at the time, he was a tech guy. And so he just like killed it with this thing. He'd be like, okay, you have a listing appointment at 2:00, go. I mean, just because of the leads that were coming in, oh, we've got buyers in town. They're here for 2 days. They're looking at, stuff on the Gulf, up to 600, go, and I would just run. And I mean, it was pretty easy.
So were you guys paying you're probably paying conversion for some pay-per-click?
Yeah, we were paying conversion, but honestly, a lot of it at the time was organic. I mean, it was just like, it was like, I mean, the SEO was like good because we were kind of like a bigger site in like a small fishbowl or something. So we were getting leads we had no business getting, honestly. And I mean, it was like wild. Like we'd show up to places and like it would be like family members of like, some of my friends and agents, and they were like, oh yeah, we didn't even know what we were clicking, but they were clicking it and they liked the site. And that was the big thing because the user experience is what's important.
Yeah. So eventually that got a little harder because we went and sold everybody in the market.
Yeah, that sucked. I remember, and it really sucked.
But so I think you had a little bit of a down period where the leads kind of slumped off.
Right.
But you were still, I know you would still get, you've told me stories about how you would still get leads that opted in a few years before.
Listen, I have people, I mean, like, I'll never forget this one lady, like, her name was Pam, and Everett's in the room too. He'll remember Pam. Remember Pam from Pasadena? Yes. But anyway, this lady Pam, like came in from the site and she was like, of course the site automatically starts sending her listings. I try to like tweak her alerts. She would respond like, I only want this complex, which is like a complex of 12 units in the tiniest beach town in the world. Okay. So I would just like, for shits and giggles, just desperately trying to sell her something, I would send her other complexes and she'd be like, Delia, I've told you. And this goes on for years, and really, it's not really me necessarily even sending it. Most of the time it was the site, would be like, oh, let's send this to Pam. Let's send this, because I couldn't even make the target area small enough to just give her that one complex. So all of a sudden, about 4 or 5 years later, I get a call at like 7:30 in the morning. She's like, Delia, it's listed, get it. She's like, give them whatever they want, and luckily I knew the listing agent was Melissa Yardy at Remax, Preferred. And I called her and I'm like, Melissa, my lady has been waiting for this unit for 5 years. I mean, so anyway, we were like signed, sealed, and delivered by 10 a.m. And so, she's like the happiest person in the world.
But the system did all the work.
She was like obsessed with the place because she, like, her mom had died, and when she was a kid, they went on vacation there, all the time.
Yeah.
So it was just a cool thing. But the site did that completely for me. Like, trust me, I am a slacker, like through and through, like when it comes to like follow up. And if I would have never remembered, and I certainly wouldn't have just noticed this random condo coming on the market and then called her, that would have never happened, especially before 7 a.m.
Yeah. So that's property alerts, everybody watching. We talk about it all the time. That's kind of, everybody gets obsessed about like fancy smart campaigns and all that, really just setting everybody up with a property alert makes you a little bit of money here and there.
Even if they're wrong.
Yeah, especially when they're wrong. And because we get a lot of, we have issues because we're trying to map to all these different MLSs all over the country. So we can't always get the searches to be really accurate, because of the data that's coming over in the alerts. But I tell people it's almost better if it's a little off because the person reaches out and tells you.
They'll say, I don't want duplexes. I only want single family or whatever.
Yeah. So you had a little bit, you had stuff like that still going on over the years, but I guess I finally I was kind of poking around again, and I kind of convinced you to go over to kvCORE. And
You did.
you can give your honest feedback, because you still tell me
And
you like conversions better.
I still think conversion's better. And I don't mean for lead quality or for what it can do. Because honestly, I don't think all of us are using it to its full potential. But I liked the interface better. I liked, seeing how many, I don't know, it just, and it's not because I was on it a lot longer. But and honestly, like my sites are actually running concurrently. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Shh.
They should. Yeah.
Oh my God. But anyway, so I still check my conversion, but oops, until tomorrow when they cut it off. But anyway, but I did like conversion a lot better, but honestly, I've gotten used to it now. And the only way I've really actually made my kvCORE work is that, I've got a dedicated person that literally stalks it all day long.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I think, you'd made the transfer. I started just throwing leads through Google and Facebook, all the stuff we talk about in these webinars every day. And it's working on some level.
It's working really well.
Yeah. But
I mean, and there was a learning curve, and it's taken time to see the fruits of the labor, because it's a lot of labor. I mean, we have literally, even before I had somebody full time, and I mean, honestly, and it's not like I just hired some ISA. I mean, which would probably be fine for a lot of people, but I've got somebody that's worked with me for 20 years doing it, and even for him knowing the systems, and he hadn't really been in kvCORE. He had been in conversion though plenty, but it's finally getting to a place where it's just natural. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no like, oh crap, this guy just said this, what do we do now? Like, it's just getting seamless, which is good. And I'm sure a lot of y'all are way better at it than both of us, but we're actually, I mean, honestly, it's the quality of the lead. And don't get me wrong, like yesterday we got like 5 unsubscribes and 2 stops, and if you don't have thick skin, you're like, crap, like we're just spamming these people. But like the reality is they clicked through my ad. They wanted to know something, they wanted a list, they wanted this, and you just have to be like, remember where they came from, so that you don't get freaked out by the whole experience,
You've been playing the numbers game, and
we're making money. It took like probably, I mean, and I shouldn't say big money, because there's probably people spending a lot more money than us, but like we're spending a lot less than, let's just say this, I'm spending less than I used to give Zillow.
Yeah.
And for a much better quality lead and a lot more leads. I mean, I got to the point where I was giving Zillow almost $5,000 a month, and I was getting like 11 leads. I mean, that's like $500 a lead. And there were like half the people are like, I have an agent. I'm like, really, for $500?
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I made a lot of money with Zillow back in the day, but it just stopped. Like it dried up like a long time ago. But we're finally seeing some definite benefits to the money we're spending.
Yeah, as time, and it should get better as time goes by, because you're only about one full cycle. Yeah, we started probably last February or March. So
right.
This is the first full season, and then you've probably, for every deal you do this year from it, you'll probably see at least a deal or 2 next year from the people already.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. So what are you guys specifically doing on the follow-up? So you have the leads coming in, and then we send the auto text. What's your process for handling those?
Like the minute someone responds, there's a live phone call made. Okay. And I will say, like, Everett, who calls them, is wonderful. I mean, he can get along with, a piece of sandpaper. And not everybody's nice, but most of the time, at least they're like, hey, well, thanks for reaching out. Like, we're just not interested right now, or we're looking, or whatever, But the minute there's any kind of like influx of inbound activity, then there's a live phone call made. And if it's on the weekend or at night, it's me, or whatever, but because I don't want to let a, live one go by. But I'll have people ask, like, doing showing requests at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like shocked by like people that don't sleep, but apparently it's a real thing.
Yeah. But you're part of the success you're having is that quick reply back when somebody's
the quick reply is the key to the whole thing. Yeah. And like also with like seller leads, like I'm buying seller leads right now just because the market's so crazy and it's impossible to get listings. And so, I'm buying seller leads from Shane Bond, and like on the seller leads, the minute that the request evaluation comes in, for a while we were like dicking around and sitting there doing like reports and doing real comps and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, no, we're wasting our time. The minute they come in, you call them, when can we come over?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real question. I need to get in the door or I can't get the listing. So
Yeah, definitely. People are going to ask. Yeah. So the seller leads is a separate service, not us, but a good friend of mine, Shane at, you guys have probably seen him in the Facebook group, Shane at Bond Street Mortgage. And he's basically doing a home valuation kind of thing. And you're getting a request for a home value.
yeah, but it has great data and it has really good, most of the time, good phone numbers. Every once in a while you'll have like somebody like it's random, like actually one of them was like a friend of mine's house, but the person that requested the information wasn't, but it was like their ex-tenant, so you'll get some little bit of garbage here and there, but most of the time it's people that really want to know what their house is worth. And we'll tell them whether or not they want to sell it or not. Some of them bought it 6 months ago and they want to see if they've come up $40,000 or not.
Yeah.
And see if they're breaking even yet. But
not after they pay you.
Yeah, no, no, I mean, not to get out of it. They just want to know, like, after their down payment, and like, if they're like upside down or not still. I'm like, oh, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're getting a lot of good ones. I mean, like I have 2 listing appointments tomorrow from that.
Yeah.
So, and that makes me very happy in this market.
Right.
Yeah, just from leads that came in today, not from like weeks of leads, just from today.
That's really good that's good testimonial for him. What are you guys doing? What are you doing when people tell you, no, I'm not interested? Just
well, normally say, feel free to browse our site. We promise we won't hassle you, blah, blah, blah.
You leave the alerts on.
Yep. I leave the alerts on, take the campaigns off. Actually, the minute anybody responds at all, I turn the campaign off.
Yeah.
So they don't get anything else. And then I just leave the alerts on.
And you've been really good about, and I didn't have to coach you on this. I was impressed, but you've been really good about moving the statuses. I see you're moving people.
Yeah, I try to move the status right away.
Yeah.
Just so that I can I still don't quite know how to search the site by like status or hashtags. So I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but I do it.
Okay.
I figured one day I'll learn what that means and like how to use it to my advantage.
You're a really good example of, and I think a lot of people are in your situation where you have the system, you can basically navigate, but you don't need to understand the whole thing. But as long as you have fresh bodies coming into the system, you can.
Yeah, then that makes me happy. Yeah, that's all I want. Yeah. And the reality is, I'm not a direction person. I know I've never watched one of the videos. I mean, I've seen some of yours from back in the day, like old ones, but like I never did the agent success plan, and I know that's terrible, but like I've just clunked around on the thing and just tried to figure it out. And that's trying to figure it out with the limited time I have available at my desk, because I am trying to manage, 30 plus people and still sell real estate and still do all the things that are important,
Let's talk about so you said about 30 agents.
Yeah, like 30, 32, somewhere in there.
And I know the basic kind of your journey with this has been, hey, let's get leads in and get people talking to us and do some deals. But the next kind of level for you is probably getting those agents more engaged.
Yeah.
How many are you?
I would say maybe 5 to 6 of my agents actually use the system. About 4 of them use it appropriately, like the right way. Like, I should, like, I'm the broker. Yesterday I went through like every single agent's activity to look, and like I saw like, on 3 of them, like new leads that hadn't even been touched at all besides the system. And I'm thinking like, so I of course sent text messages, but I am going to really focus on that pawn thing.
Yeah.
And right now, like obviously we
looks like the audio, I don't know if it's me or Delia, guys, just bear with us here. It might be Zoom. Let's see. Can somebody just let me know if you can hear me? I just want to know if the audio is on my side or if it's on Delia's side. Okay, thanks. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so it might just be Delia's connection. There are a lot of storms in the area right now here in Pinellas County, so she might be dealing with that. Are you guys finding this useful? I've been trying to get more people on who are using the system. Delia's a great example. I know it might not be too much actionable info, but it might help to see how other people are using the system. So and what Delia's basically done to she got the basic stuff done where she has lead sources coming in, auto texts are going out as we talk about, and now she's evolving to where she's got people who are calling the leads in the first place. So hopefully she logs back in here in just a second. But yeah, let's see. I'm just going to answer a few questions. Good question. Does Inside Real Estate host a yearly conference? I think we're trying to get to that. I think last year we were looking at that before COVID, and I'm not sure where our marketing department might be on that. It's probably something I would be aware of if we were doing it though. So a really good idea though. I'd love to see some of you guys in person if we can get that done. How to boost a squeeze page on Facebook. I can jump into that if Delia doesn't make it back on here in a second. Great, thanks for the feedback, guys. There was a question. The seller lead source, Bond Street, it's a guy who works at Bond Street Mortgage. His name is Shane Bond, and he does a little bit of boutique lead gen. I think they created an agency or something. There you are. Yep. You're muted. You got the mute button. Yeah, it's down in the Zoom. You'll see the mute button. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Thanks.
Was it the storm? Did your internet drop?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi, the whole office went out.
Yeah.
Never happened before.
So
good luck.
So everybody's down. They're liking the conversation here. Yeah, it is fun to get this in the trenches stuff. So where were we? I was asking about getting your agents to adopt. So you got a handful that are using the system right now.
Well, I probably have like 12 that have it and are supposed to be using it, right. But like 4 know how to use it appropriately.
But coming off COVID and everything, we're going to start.
But yeah, like we're really pushing people to use it. And honest, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't care if they don't use it. You know what I mean? Like then you just don't get my leads. Right. I mean, it's real simple. But if you want the leads, you have to use it.
Do you mind sharing kind of how you work that out? And let's talk about your business model a little. You're a boutique company.
We are. Yeah, we're definitely full service, like kind of concierge, boutique real estate, high service to the client. The agents love me because it's straight 80-20. There's 0 fees whatsoever. Right. I don't hassle them for anything, work, don't work. I mean, obviously I mentor them if they want to like work hard and learn the business. But we're really laid back. Every single person that works here is, a team player. They're helpful. But we're definitely not a team. You know what I mean? Like we're not in everybody's pocket all the time. Yeah, there's no cutthroat, any of that stuff here.
But it's a standard, anyway. It's a standard 80-20. And I guess the question I'm asking, this would be for people who are in your position. Are you charging the agents for kvCORE?
No, I'm actually not. And I know all other offices are, but I am not charging them anything for kvCORE. So even if they're not taking leads from me or they don't need them or whatever, if they're not even using the system, they still have like, the user, website, for their clientele. So it makes them look, good, yeah, which is important. But no, I don't charge them for anything extra. Now, obviously, if I give them leads and we share in that, just 50-50 or whatever. And then like, honestly, and we pay Everett, that calls all the leads. They don't even get a lead until the lead is like, not only warm, but like hot, ready to go out and look at property, and, make an offer or whatever. They're already liking stuff and they're already committed.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Then the lead gets them. They don't have to nurture. They don't have to do any of that.
I do think that's the right way to do it because the other companies, people do it all different ways, but the people who have had the most success with an e-leads program, like handing their agents leads, are the ones that actually handle the lead first.
Right.
From the top down, and they say, hey, here's a referral.
Right. Well, and it's not even a bad deal. It's 50-50. I mean, it's like, I'm like not a control.
You muted yourself.
But anyway, I do like to help out. So I do stay actively involved the whole time without telling them what to do. But anyway, that's my, flaw I have. Yeah. But anyway, but some of them need the help though. If they're really busy, then I can at least help them with like some of the legwork and, get involved. Yeah.
So they get a 50-50. I think that's a good deal. The agent doesn't have to take on any risk. If you're starting out in the business and you have nothing coming, for new agents, I think it makes sense to join a shop like yours. You're going to get the mentorship, not have the overhead.
Right.
And do you use that? And I don't want to badmouth. There's so many business models. So there's going to be people on this call who are at other companies that are working the exact opposite way. Right. Do you find that you're able to recruit and agents come to you as an alternative to those other companies, or? I've
gotten a couple of EXP agents. I mean, not to use names, but like I've gotten a couple of agents from bigger brokerages that felt like lost in the shuffle and but wanted to have some of the same tools. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I have not been an active recruiter. Like I probably really need to work on that because we probably have room for, 20 more agents, over the next couple of years. But I have, honestly, for years and years, like agents just kind of came to me and like I didn't have to do anything or ask them to come. So, I need to work on that part because recruitment's obviously important. And, honestly, last weekend, we had like a weekend from hell, like 4 open houses, chaos, and honestly, I was sitting there thinking, like, where are my like 25-year-old agents that are like hungry and like full of fire and like want to get this done? Because like we have like 7 new leads come in, and it's like here I'm like going through my phone, like calling, like, because I mean, some of my agents are really successful and they don't need, extra leads or whatever. And it's summer, so it's like really hard to like, get people to
Work.
I know you're on vacation, but don't you want to work a little? Like, but anyway, but yeah, so
I think
I definitely think it should be a really good recruiting thing, except for I just have yet to start doing it, but I'm gonna start.
I think your office, you've got 2 really cool locations. Like your office is a really good example of how the smaller, I don't know, you're not tiny, but how the smaller,
We're pretty
brokerage-
small.
yeah, pretty small, but yeah, and how you can do just fine while there are kind of mega brokerages out there.
No, I think so too. And
Yeah.
both of our locations are awesome. Like our St. Pete location, we have a pool. I know you can't see because it's like all foggy,
Yeah,
but there's a pool behind me. Agents are allowed to use it whenever they want, like especially during COVID. I mean, it was like a madhouse over here. But anyway, and then we have a great location in Gulfport right on Beach Boulevard. So there's a ton of walk-in traffic. I mean, like this office gets good call-ins and walk-ins, but that place is like a gold mine. I mean, it can make an order taker that does not know how to sell anything make a lot of money every year.
I wanted to call you out because I walk past that office all the time, and you still don't have a text code. Like you still don't have, like on the wood deck there.
So we should have like oh yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah, like
all right, I'll order it tomorrow.
Because there's thousands of people walking past there.
I know. I'll order it tomorrow.
I'll help you figure out the call to action on that. So
Okay.
anybody watching who has if you have a physical location, use the text codes because it's just people walk, especially if you're on a busy strip like Delia's, it's just people walking by. So it could be text to see this week's open houses. You say you don't want the open, but
yeah, no, I canceled the open house list ads.
I did.
Okay, good.
You're
like, why would you want to send them to go meet other agents? Like,
I didn't even consider.
You didn't think that one through
in this market. I didn't think.
Well, no, but they liked it. Everybody loved it, but it was like, no.
Yeah.
But like, and then I had a live one from it that was like $1.6 million house, and I was like, it was up in Palm Harbor, which is like I know you guys are from everywhere, but it's like an hour away from me. And I was like gonna go meet the guy, and we were so excited. And then he was like, at the last minute, I'm like, what time? He's like, why does it matter what time? I'm like, well, I want to meet you at the open house. And he's like, oh, you're not the listing agent. I'm like, I hate that.
All right, we'll turn those off.
So anyway, so I almost got something out of it, but 0. So that one, throw in the garbage.
Okay, we're not doing that anymore. But definitely the text ads. So yours might be, see a list of the waterfront condos would be a good one. Just because I know who's walking past that location. It's the people who are here on vacation.
Right. Well, our waterfront ad is truly the best ad that was ever written. I mean, it's probably 90% of the influx of leads in our entire database. Yeah, but I mean, the waterfront people, I shouldn't say most of the time, 30% are like, well, I'm just thinking about retirement and like blah, blah, blah. And that's great. I've kept people in my old Convergent and in my kvCORE that, have been on my site for years until they retire, and they just want to stay like abreast of the situation, which right now is not a great time to show them like, oh, it's so affordable here. But since it's not, but anyway, but like, no, I mean, so the waterfront ad is truly the best ad you ever made.
Great. That's good.
It really is.
So guys, you can copy that. That's in the next level mastermind. I think, that's the one we've run the most of. I think if I spun up a new construction or we did like income properties or something, it would probably work fine.
Yeah, no, the new construction and the income are good too. Yeah. But like and actually I told you the other day, like this income guy I've got like wants to buy 40 units from me. Yeah. He's awesome. And he's actually not like, your typical, a-hole investor. He's like super nice, like awesome, like retired dentist from California. And he's just like a good landlord and wants to like make people's lives better by like fixing up crappy places. So yeah, I mean, like that ad's been really good too. But those are the routing issues we were having. Those were going to all the agents instead of just to us, so we couldn't warm them all up.
Yeah.
Because some of them went by the wayside,
Yeah. So we've got that ironed up.
But
There's
yeah, that got fixed yesterday or whatever. So we're all good.
yeah. So pretty simple. Just to recap for everybody, Delia's using the system, but you're not using every feature. You're just
No, I've never done a voicemail drop. I've never done video ever.
Yeah.
But we might work on that.
I think core video for you, especially with so many people in the market already knowing you, but maybe
I need to do it.
Yeah, maybe they don't like put a face to the name right away, but if you send them a reply video to a fresh lead, they might recognize you.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah. So definitely, I'm just looking at some questions here. Can an individual get kvCORE? You can. You just have to go to the homepage and request that. Cost wise, you're better off going to an office that gives it to you, like Delia's.
Are you in Pinellas County?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Are you in Tampa Bay? You're welcome to come here.
There's some other questions. How to boost a squeeze page on Facebook. I don't think I'm going to have time to do that particular tutorial today, but it is in the Facebook session of Next Level. It's basically just run the Facebook ad with a click to your squeeze link. But the thing we've had the most success with, and the thing that Delia is getting the most activity from, is the Facebook lead forms and the Google ads. How are the Google ads doing, actually?
I like the Google ads. Like I think quality of lead is really good. You get a lot less just looky-loos. There are people that are actually looking at real estate instead of like, oh, waterfront houses in Pinellas County for 200,000, which obviously doesn't really exist. I mean, the condo might, but so you get like, oh, and that's the other thing. If you are going to start running those ads, make sure that you keep up with the actual ad and like delete the negative comments.
Yeah.
Because then it gets out of control if you don't.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I wonder if other people listening have had that same experience. You do have to watch for the comments.
Yeah.
There's a question. Are you getting emails and phone numbers? Yeah. How many real phone numbers do you get off the Google ads?
At least 80%, 85.
Okay. So when they
and then honestly, the ones that aren't good, like I can just go into like either IMAP or, public records or even Spokio. And I mean, I can get almost any number for free.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our agents is signing up for quite cool realty resources just to get like better numbers on stuff. But like, I mean, 9 out of 10 times I can get a phone number.
Yeah.
To at least somebody that, is, in that relationship with the client that clicked through.
Yeah. Having been in this market for so long, do you get people who already opting in?
I have actually.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times my stepmom's on there a lot. Same with my real mom. Like they're both on there a lot. Like, and like I'll have to like tell people, I'm like, don't call them.
Yeah.
They're just going to be on there for the rest of the time. Yeah. But we've met a lot. I mean, like I've gotten like, especially like with the seller leads, I was telling you, like one of them was like a good friend of mine's house that they were like asking the value of, and I just realized it was like the tenant from before with the old owner or whatever. They just wanted to know what it was worth.
Yeah, but
they were there when it sold.
The digital ads can kind of get you back in touch with people belly to belly in a weird way.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, like on that waterfront ad, we had people like saying some bad stuff, and then all of a sudden, some client of mine that I hadn't talked to in probably 7 years, like chirped in and was like, "That's not true. If she says that that's what they start at, that's what they start at. She wouldn't lie." And it was like all this kind of stuff. I was like, "Oh, that was nice."
Yeah.
But then I had to delete his comment because he was underneath the original like nasty comment. They're like, "Oh, you're selling mud bogs." Like they act like I created the real estate market.
Right. Yeah, it is. People are wild. Some of the comments. We're getting a lot of questions about the ads, and we frequently show your stuff, Delia. You haven't yelled at me yet for doing so. But somebody's asking like, are we driving traffic to landing pages? The answer is yes. From the Google campaigns. So just to give people who are curious, here's a typical kind of Google campaign. And a lot of this we've covered on these webinars, because as these have been built, I've done them on webinars. So here's an example of the new construction page. There's a question, Delia, about when you get an email only. You kind of answered it. You just kind of stalk the email address, right?
Yeah, I stalk the email address, but if I can't find it, obviously we send a nice email. I mean, a more personalized email than what the system does.
Yeah, that makes That makes a lot of sense. How do you, when somebody replies back to the waterfront ads, to the initial text, what do you typically do? I mean, are you trying to get them to tell you what their criteria is?
Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't do that, but number one, we call or, text. And if they don't answer, we text. Then if they don't do that, then I just send them a text like, you can see a bunch of people. Are these mine? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind? I don't think there's any.
Yeah, no, there's nothing I could care less. I mean,
Yeah.
but like Mark Kelly, like he's awesome. Like I'm showing him something in Clearwater tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I mean, he started at 110 to 140 for Airbnb with like no rental restrictions. I mean, that doesn't exist. So I've already got him up to like 250 to 290, which still isn't great. But and he's already talked to my lender. He came in yesterday.
He was California.
Yeah, he's from California.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what'd you say?
I'm just saying, anybody listening, I mean, you guys are probably seeing this too. You're getting a lot of California moving to Florida, basically.
Yeah, there's a ton of it. But
Yeah.
anyway, he's great. I mean, this is just going to be like, obviously for investment. He's a GC out there. He can't leave there. He's got like 3 businesses. But, but I mean, at least we like upsold him to something better.
You seem to be pretty good and natural at getting, because you've been in the business so long, at getting these people to talk to you.
We really don't know what we're doing, to be quite honest. We're just trying to be natural. I mean, that's what like Everett kept the first like week he was back like doing this. He kept like, saying like, I don't think I'm saying the right thing. I'm like, just talk like you're talking to your friend, so that they don't feel like, put off by it. And then all of a sudden, like when you get more comfortable, don't you? No, he said it's definitely not scripted. You have to just be natural.
Yeah. So here's the initial text. Thanks for looking at waterfront properties. What'd Mark say? I can be reached via phone looking for, he basically just told you.
Oh no, he called him, I think.
Oh, okay.
He called him and then yeah, so anyway, like, yeah, because he talked to him and then he's like, he goes, I can't talk or whatever. He had like, he was at some place with his kid. And so then he texted him back. He said, well, just tell me what you're looking for.
Gotcha. And then you manually remove the conversation starter campaign, which is great.
Yeah, because I don't want to seem stupid. Like,
yeah, it'll be
oh.
silly. And we get a lot of feedback like, oh, this system's making me look dumb. It's like, the system is just a dumb robot.
Yeah, it can't control it.
Yeah, so you need to make sure the system doesn't make you look dumb.
Now, just because you remove that doesn't mean they're not going to get weird text and emails. So you can also scroll up, like one thing that took me a while to figure out, because I did look dumb a couple of times.
Yeah.
But you can scroll up to like future touch points and just X them out. Now, one big complaint I do have is that you cannot do that on mobile.
Wait, where's the future touch points in the top time?
Well, this guy doesn't have any, I guess, because his campaign's gone. But
I didn't know.
Find somebody else that's new.
Yeah, here. This is a good tip. So it'll show you what's coming up in the campaign.
Yeah, it'll show you what's coming up. And like, I mean, in like the first 24 hours, sometimes there's 3 things. And if you end up talking to somebody, you don't want them to think that you're just like insane. And all of a sudden you send them an email.
Yeah. It's taking a minute to load. Oh, did you guys just load up a lot of stuff? Let me see.
Oh, unfortunately, you told me to do that whole like spear thing.
Oh.
My whole entire Google contacts. So now my whole entire CRM sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
No, there's like 8,000 realtors in it. I'm like,
all right.
But anyway,
what I told Delia to do was to hook her Google.
Oh, look,
contacts.
that's the doctor that delivered my daughter 13 years ago. She's probably not even a doctor anymore.
So, but
my
look,
ex-brother-in-law.
This is useful though. So you synced your Google contacts.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these people in there who you haven't talked to in years. I mean, if you had time, you could start reaching out to them.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So there is money in these.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's a very smart thing to do. It's just, how can you go to like what's really important right now so we can show you what I was talking about?
Yeah. So here, I'm gonna go back to the timeline thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I was getting a little ADD there. Is it loading slower after you imported that sync?
Is everything slower today than yesterday?
I didn't notice.
No, he said no.
Might just be me and Zoom. Okay. Okay, so this is a recent waterfront that just came in.
Okay.
So this should show you. Oh, I see.
Yeah, show future touch points.
I have never noticed that. So.
Oh yeah, so if you click that, you can go up and now the problem is you cannot do it on your phone, and I like to run my life off my phone.
Okay.
So we need to work on that. Get them to put in a ticket for that.
Now, will
Um,
these will stop if you take the campaign off though, right?
no, they don't necessarily all stop.
Good to know.
So
I'll
like,
make-
even when I take off some people's campaigns, they're still there. Like, they'll get like weird random things and it makes you look really dumb. So like, but I just get rid of them. Like, if you X them out, then obviously it's not going to happen.
All right, I'll make sure the product team sees this particular thing because that shouldn't happen. If you take them off
It
the
shouldn't
campaign,
happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, the campaign shouldn't still go. So I'll just
Well, maybe they're not on that campaign though. It might not be on the waterfront ad. It might just be like people coming to the site.
Yeah. Now the other thing that you need to watch out for is your behavioral alerts. So that's
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe that's when they get this weird emails and texts.
yeah. So see the behavioral automation up at the top right. Let's just
Yeah, I've never looked at that in my life.
So what it's set up to do. Yeah. So I thought I had this configured for you, but you see this toggle right here? It basically says when they reply, move them from new leads active, which has been
Yeah, I
good.
like that.
But what we want to do is we want to say, hey, if somebody's inactive, if they're in client or above, don't
Oh,
send
so
them.
then they don't get any of the crap. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So we just turn that off. And anybody watching, that's just a little tip. You know,
But
and
wait, maybe I still want them to see I still want them to get the one when they favorite something that they get the text that says, do you want to go see it?
so what we can do is leave these on and just turn off the.
Other ones. Yeah, that's what I think I want to do.
Okay, so we'll do it.
Yeah,
like
because I want them to like, like surf the site in peace if they're not like ready to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, like my biggest objection, I've requested this too, and a lot of people have. I think these would be a lot better.
Do this, do the lead viewed property 3 times too, so I don't have to go in and edit it.
Yeah.
There you go, perfect.
I think
I think that's fair to ask them if they want to see it too.
Yeah. What I'm hoping we have soon, I've been asking, I know a lot of you guys watching it want this. If we could edit these behaviorals, like the actual text and the email, then it would be better. I think the problem is sometimes the way that it just makes you sound like you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, like you don't remember talking to them yesterday or whatever.
Right. But really cool. I think, Delia, thank you. Because I think just some of these nitty gritty things you're doing, like turning off the future points, having somebody call people right away. I think this is really useful to people. And do you guys all agree still? I'm fishing for feedback. Yeah. So Rob, yeah, we're driving them to a landing page for the Google ads. We do it both ways. We do go to a straight up landing page, like the new construction one I was just showing. And I think the other campaign might just be going to a squeeze link. Both of them work fine. I think in this case, I was testing the landing page and it worked out fine. And maybe the one with income properties right here might be going to a squeeze link. Let's see. And then for a while, Delia, we were running condo ads, but that kind of fizzled out, right?
Well, no, the problem was they were like cheap condo ads. So we got a ton of business.
You muted.
I
There you
can't
are.
see it though. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, so the problem was they were like $100,000 condo ads. So like here I was like being like, giving them to my agents like, oh, and don't worry for this big $3,000 commission, you only have to give me half. So it didn't work out really well. They were not like apt to like run and go show $90,000 condos. So we just need to we could still do condo ads. Let's just do nicer ones.
So you're highlighting a good point. So our journey together is I've been kind of running these ads, and maybe a couple of weeks will go by and you'll say, nah, and you we've evolved it on the fly based on the way that the leads have replied.
Right.
And that's kind of what you got to do every Delia, you invested some money in the past year.
Yeah, I know.
Just learning what works and what doesn't. But now the nice thing about Google and Facebook to some extent is that now you can leave these campaigns run for a while and they should just keep generating you business.
Right. And they really do. And the funny thing is when like all my like real friends like find the ad and like Facebook and then they like it, like they think that I just did it myself like an hour ago.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we liked your status. I'm like, that is not me. But whatever.
Yeah. Did you see my yesterday?
I never saw that one. What's that?
The Sell House Fast?
No.
I just launched that yesterday on the webinar we were doing. So I'm running an ad that runs to people who are Googling, want to sell my house fast, things like that.
Okay.
And then it's going to, I'll show you the landing page. Now we haven't gotten a lead yet. It's just starting to get a few clicks, but we're trying to play this up against the wholesale investors who are trying to get you to lowball.
What a retail buyer might pay for your house today, not a wholesale investor.
Right. So I can talk, you and I can talk. I can.
No,
probably-
I think that's great. I think that's awesome.
But we'll just see.
I
if we
mean,
can
I
generate-
just got a listing under contract this weekend. I listed on Friday. She had put it like for sale by owner on Zillow for 275. She immediately got an investor offer for 250. She countered him at 255. He said yes. I just got it under contract for 330 this weekend, even though I had a 350 and a 370 offer. So that's the difference in the market. 255, which she was willing to take, all the way to 230. And we had a 350 and a 370 were both financed, and she just didn't want to even deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she took a 330 cash.
So you're
That's the
saying,
difference. I mean, I'd like for people to understand that, because people don't get it. Like my ex-husband, like, you know, his best friend just sold his house to some wholesaler for 280. It's probably worth 440.
right. Yeah,
So
actually, that's a
people just
video.
don't know.
That's a video we should do, is just in like a public service video, and we can get people to opt in for that. Like why you shouldn't sell your house to the guy sending you letters.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
And I probably get 30 letters a month, you know, it's
Yeah.
crazy how many.
And I know some of those guys are watching right now, so we're not talking about you.
Oh, I
No,
know.
well, we have some agents. It's an interesting model. You know, there are some agents who double, right? They kind of like work the wholesale angle, but they'll also flip it and list it.
Right.
They'll change the conversation and list it. Flip's not a good word there.
Yeah, my sister got burned by one of those guys about a month ago.
Yeah.
She sold him a listing, or sold him the house, and then he promised like he would relist it with her and all this stuff if she got it for him. And she did. And then guess what? He listed it himself.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even know he was an agent. He never even said.
I made my living on like 5 investors in Philly in the early 2000s. Like if you
Oh, you can make a lot of money from investors. They're great, but you just
Yeah.
have to like know what you're, you know, like they need to know that you're going to do it the right way.
and yeah, you need them to be loyal to you. You need to, I guess.
Yeah, the loyalty is everything. Otherwise, investors she's not going to sell the next house to.
Yeah.
That guy.
Right.
So
You
he
almost
screwed
need
himself.
to have the conversation up front, like, hey, I'm gonna like work and pretend that I'm looking for an investor property for myself for you, and I'm gonna find you
Right.
those deals, but I need you to give me the listing. Damn it.
Right. Guarantee me the listing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the most important part.
So we're coming up on an hour, Delia. Thank you. I'm like, this has been really good. I'm just happy that you got on camera, and I'm gonna make you do it more.
I know you can make fun of me later.
Yeah, and I'll shamelessly plug your office. If anybody is in the market and you think that Delia's business model might be a good fit for you, she really does need agents to work all the leads that I'm helping generate for her. So
It's very true.
there's an opportunity there. to work
And there
with-
really is a pool out there, even though it's all foggy because of the storm.
yeah, and the coffee's good.
And the coffee is very good. It's all organic.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Ivy. Saying she enjoyed
You're
it.
welcome. No, thank you, Ryan. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So we'll get this replay up in the members area and on YouTube soon. You gone, Delia?
I wasn't I not supposed to?
No, you can. We'll see you later. All right. Bye.
All right, bye y'all.
All right, see you. So guys, we'll get this replay up. I hope you guys liked it. If any of you would like to come on and just talk about your business, let me know. You know, she's still there. I don't know if she knows that she's not muted. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to come on. I'm looking at the other questions here. Charlie, I can't do what you're asking, just bandwidth wise, but email me rhartman@insiderealestate.com and I can point you in the right direction for your questions, Charlie Santos. Yeah, getting seller leads, guys. We've been doing a fair amount of content about that. There's a few questions in there. I showed you what we did yesterday with Delia. If you go to the insiderealestate.com/webinars link, then you'll see some of our, you can dig through that, and there's some webinars about seller leads, and there's some stuff in the all right, guys, we're gonna cut the webinar off. I'm gonna go bust Delia's chops for leaving her audio on. She was muting the whole time. So
Oh, you did not stop. Oh my God.
all right, guys. See you later.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.